You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
The father and the mother are facing numerous felony charges after Connecticut cops responded to a residence and allegedly found evidence of a malnourished 10-year-old boy with hair loss locked inside of an empty room and closet for months. As detailed in a probable cause affidavit against the 41-year-old Michael Gregor and 38-year-old Melissa Gregor, the case initially began with the girlfriend accusing the boyfriend of abuse. Through the investigation initially appeared to focus solely on Michael Gregor. A May 11th update from New London Police stated that Melissa Gregor, the boy's mother, also faces several conspiracy charges for her alleged role in protracted child abuse. On the morning of January 29th, New London Police responded to Jake's Diner after receiving a domestic disturbance call from Melissa Gregor, who claimed that she was assaulted by Michael Gregor. Once inside a New London residence, investigators stated the 10-year-old boy was found living in squalor, inhumane conditions, and was deemed the subject of abuse for a duration of time. The boy was allegedly kept in a room with a deadbolt lock on the exterior, allowing it to be secured from the outside. Quote, the victim stated that he was locked inside of that room for hours a day and that he slept in the room. The room was empty, with one layer of plastic on the floor and a blanket. The officers observed the JV victim to have numerous bruises, appeared malnourished, and hair loss. The victim also had trauma to his ears and appeared to be in discomfort and walking with a limp. Officers stated that the boy said that he hadn't changed his clothes or showered in weeks. The 10-year-old also stated that there was at least one occasion where he was hogtied. He thought at one point that he was not going to make it. Quote, the JV victim stated that there were no windows in the room he stayed in, and he was bound in a small place for several months. The JV victim gave a detailed account of being placed into a cabinet was what he called hogtied. The victim described being hogtied as when both of his hands and feet were bound together to limit movements. The JV victim stated he remembers when he was grabbed by the neck and hoisted in the air by Michael Gregor. He believed he was not going to make it because he could not breathe and passed out, and his feet were uncontrollably kicking. The victim told investigators in February that the incidents began months before when he was living with his stepdad and mom with two brothers at a Norwich residence. Victim stated that the first incident happened with Michael Gregor, who repeatedly went after him, and stated that the boy lied about taking some food. The 10-year-old then stated to investigators that he used to weigh about 90 pounds but had lost a lot of weight. The victim recalled being placed in a wooden box and allegedly told cops that he was unsure why he was being treated so badly, but stated most of his communication with Michael Gregor was about using the bathroom. He directed a police officer to a small closet down the hall in the apartment of horrors where the victim had been in the past locked inside all day for a month and could only come out to use the bathroom. The boy allegedly stated that he would be asked if he needed to use the bathroom after not receiving water for multiple days, that he was kicking, stumped on, and hit if he did not have to urinate or did not urinate enough, and that he would not be changed for multiple days after urinating on himself while locked in a closet. He apparently made one statement stating that his mom had no choice but to help Michael Gregor or else she would face the same fate. Quote, the JV victim further stated that his mother had no choice but to help Gregor because if she said anything about what was going on, Gregor would then do the same thing to both of them. The boy later stated that, however, that Melissa Gregor stuffed her socks into his mouth at least one time. Melissa Gregor was allegedly aware that her son was being abused over an extended period of time. She pulled him out of school to homeschool him instead. She allegedly admitted the boy was removed from school to hide evidence of his injuries. I don't even know where to even begin. Like, I really don't. Um, they stated that Melissa Gregor, she's out of custody on a 250K bond. Michael Gregor remains behind bars on a 750K bond. Um, Yeah, like I said, I don't even know what to even tell y'all. I don't even know realistically to start. The main thing that I can sit up there and state is, I'm so sorry for that kid. I am so sorry that he had to deal with that. I cannot even imagine what it was like for him, what he had to go through mentally for days. Like I couldn't even. Wow. And the mom was there. And this is the main thing that I be sitting up there talking about, where you have a lot of these mothers out here where they know exactly what is happening and they're not doing nothing. They're allowing this to happen. She allowed this to happen. You mean to tell me that you are so in fear for yourself? You are so selfish that you can't do anything, nothing at all, to save your child. You sat up here and pulled this boy out of school, the last glimmer of hope before the cops magically ran into this incident. The last glimmer of hope, technically, that that kid had, you took him out of school to hide evidence. You abated, you aided what it is that he was doing because you agreed with it. It wasn't out of fear. You allowed this to happen because you agreed with it. You were right there with him, right there with him. And it's like, it's crazy to me that you would allow your boyfriend to do this. Not even his actual father, your boyfriend. Like, yo, this is crazy, man. Like, this is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. And it's like, I'm not even trying. I wish I had like a better word to even use, because it's like this is the most egregious, type of thing. And it's like, the craziest thing is, how was she even allowed to even just bond like that? That makes no sense. Set both of them to like $1 million. Set them both to 1 million. Let them both be sitting up there in prison, never to return to normal existence ever again. Like, that kid is going to need therapy for life. He ain't never going to be right. And it's like, the one main hope that I have is that, he ends up being something positive, because stuff like this, like, it will drastically change like somebody's outlook and mentality on society. He's going to have massive trust issues. And Lord help him if he ever has kids. Like, hopefully, if one day he has kids, he doesn't end up like this. He doesn't, do the exact same thing, repeat the exact same cycle. Hopefully that is not the case. And this is when I sit up there and say a lot of times on these videos that parents and adults and guardians don't really care about kids. They don't. They don't. We were able to hear what took place. What took place? This kid is 10. 10. And this is the life that he had to sit up here and live. He had to try to sneak out just to try to get some food, sneak out just trying to use the bathroom. If he was caught, then it was pretty much game over for him. He was terrified for his life probably every single day. Every single day. And it's like, I consistently ask the question, why is it that you have people that are born to parents like this? Why is it that you have kids that are born to parents like this? Why is it, out of all the people that are the utmost deserving to actually have kids because they would take care of kids and nurture them and respect them and value them, why would you give the ability to procreate to two individuals like this? Why? I don't see the purpose. I don't see the purpose. I can't fathom the understanding. Like, I just can't. And there's nothing that anybody can tell me to try to make sense of the situation, because it literally makes no sense. It makes no sense what this kid has to go through. And this is why I keep saying, so where again are the men of this community that people talk oh so high and mighty about, say that they protect and they do this and they do that. Where are those men at again? Where are those men at? Where are those women that normally like to advocate for these guys? Like, where y'all at? Where y'all at? Because he's supposed to be a part of the group that's a protector. He protects the women, protects the children, protects the community. Wasn't protecting nothing. The only one that was actually doing some protecting was the female McGregor. That was it. She was sitting up there protecting him by pulling the son directly out of school to make sure that people can't tell what's going on at home. And she got the nerve to sit up here and state that I didn't do anything because I was in fear of my life. Wow. The cowardice. The cowardice. Like I said, I'm not asking for her to fight back. I'm not asking for none of that, but get him out of there. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. That's it. That's all you had to do. Run. Run. Like I said, nobody's going to give me an excuse. You're not going to sit up there and tell me that you were so frightened that you were willing to sacrifice your son in order to save yourself. You're not going to tell me that. You're not going to tell me that. If anybody's going to make that excuse, you're a coward as well. You're 1,000% a coward. You're worse than her. You need to get thrown in prison. Like I said, I get tired of hearing these excuses as to why it is that you have these quote unquote mothers out here willing to sit up there and sacrifice their son just so that they can live a little bit longer. That's crazy. That's 1,000% crazy. And for people to sit up there and literally go by these stories and make excuses for the mother, shame on you. 1,000% shame on you. You ain't worth nothing. Like I said, I'm sorry for the kid, because this is something that he has to live with for the rest of his life. This is something that's forever going to be in his memory, that he's always going to see. He's going to forever have trust issues. He's never going to be right. It's a shame.